three other organizations and we're having the same problem.
Yeah.
Although planning board, we had new appointments. We have like 2 new alternates and then 2 got bumped up to full, so we're good now.
Yeah,
So we're getting a quorum now, planning
Yeah.
boards. Which is good. And they're younger. I say younger, they're newer, younger people that have never been involved in
Yeah.
politics before. So it's good to get some new people.
right.
Yeah.
They have more pictures that they see. and,
Oh, yeah.
You know, have
Different
to look at this
perspective.
plan and all that stuff. So,
Pretty good, pretty good. Look at all that's happened while I was gone.
Everyone's
This is
great.
magic, magic. All right. You're chairing today?
Yes, I get designated.
Aren't you a nice guy for doing that? All right, here we go. Let me just set myself up over here. Okay. We have Andrew, remind me. Thank you. I thought so. And there's Nancy. And we have Jerry George. All staff. Okay, and
Do
on
you want to wait another minute or two to see if we get like non-staff or?
Becky.
oh, we got one more walking.
Mark, Lucy.
Sign in sheet. Nicole.
Where's Lucy?
Hi, were you? Is there a sign in sheet? No?
No, sorry. Home yesterday, I forgot to print it out.
Oh,
Sylvia's checking everything.
Yeah, I'm tracking.
And you're checking too.
Sorry, I'm gonna need bad person. I'm in the ladies' room.
oh, that was Tracy. Jessica,
Ricky and Kristen in the waiting room.
okay.
Okay.
Got it. Good to see everybody here in the room and online. We're just doing a final look at who all is here. Okay. I think we're ready.
We're good?
I'm ready, I should say. Yeah.
You're right, okay. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Just want to call the meeting of order of the TAP committee meeting of May 18th, 2023. I'm George Suris, Town of Derry Planning Director. We'll probably go around the room or Zoom land and we can do introductions and then we'll see if we have a quorum to go to some of the business we need to vote on, but we may not have a quorum. So let me start with the roll call and then we'll just go around. I'll go to my left, Nancy and
Nancy Michaels, Dairy London Dairy Chamber.
Real Greater Manchester Chamber.
Yeah, Chester Planning Board.
we have Tracy from MTA.
Benjamin Herbert, Regional Development Manager.
Okay,
Zach Swick with the commission.
David Tilton with the commission.
Suzanne Nienaber with the commission.
Anthony Summers with the commission.
Cam Perlman, with the commission. You have some questions?
Okay, thank you, Cam.
Nate Miller, staff.
Okay,
Adam Lesney, staff.
thank you, Adam. And we have Sylvia here.
And
Okay, all
Sylvia here with the commission.
right, I'm just gonna go out to TV land, so I'm gonna look at the screen. See, I'll start with you, Lucy St. John. Do you want to just say hello?
Good morning, everyone. Lucy St. John, New Hampshire DOT.
What do we have? Going to the right.
Morning, this is Paul Maloney from Federal Highway.
Okay, sorry about that.
And Mark Thunen.
Mark, Sunan,
Mark Sunan, town of New Boston.
okay, Jason,
Good morning, Jason Cleghorn, City of Manchester.
thank you, Ricky.
Morning, Ricky DeSilla, New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services.
Okay, Becky.
Morning, everyone. Becky Hebert, Town of Bedford.
Okay, Jessica,
Good morning, everybody. Jessica Wilcox with New Hampshire Environmental Services.
thank you, Jason.
He already went.
He went, all right, do we,
That's everybody.
that's everybody, okay, thank you. I've done this for several years, but it's been 2 years, I have not done this in 2 years, give or take, so I'm a little rusty. Okay, the first item. We had notes from the March 16th meeting and the April 20th meeting. We didn't have quorums on either of those meetings, so people want to review them, and do we need to make any comments or for?
Seven.
Don't have a quorum.
We don't have a quorum.
Yeah, we don't have a quorum in the room, so no action. can be
What is
taken.
that, 8? Need
Okay,
or -1?
all right.
That's it.
Does anybody have any comments, or at least, or any revisions that we can at least let Adam know from those two meetings? If people want to just, if there's anything that people saw, if you review the minutes or notes? I know we can't vote on them, but if there's anything. You want TV line? Okay, seeing none, Adam, so we'll move on to the next item, which is. I'll turn over to Nate. Nate's gonna talk about the consideration of tip amendment number 1.
Right there.
Oh, all right, there we go. I'm not good with that mouse, I'm not good with the little laptop. Finger pad mouse, no.
Yeah,
Not believe it.
you have to answer to your staff members here.
Can everybody see this in full screen mode online?
Yes, yeah, we
Yes.
can see that.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so for the next hour and a half to 2 hours or so, I'm no, I'm kidding. Tip amendment number 1 is a fairly straightforward tip amendment, won't take long to walk through at all. Our MPO got this overview at their meeting last month. You're getting it this month. But essentially, we have put out tip amendment number 1. Tip amendment number 1 only includes 4 projects in our region, so it's a fairly straightforward tip amendment. It was included in your packets for this meeting, so you have the tip amendment handy. We released it on May 8th for a 10-day public comment period. That public comment period ends, I think, tomorrow. And a public hearing to consider adoption of the tip amendment number 1 will be held at our meeting next Tuesday, May 23rd, the MPO meeting, Tuesday at 11:30 in the morning. The 4 projects that are affected by tip amendment number 1 are the Candia, Route 2743 and Raymond Road project at the Four Corners in Candia. The amendment here is increasing the engineering phase funding in fiscal 23 and adding engineering phase funding in 24 and 25. That is to accommodate the design schedule for the project. Engineering has started. They've been out there doing survey and they're starting to get a handle on background traffic growth and things along those lines. The first items that are done in the engineering process, that's happening now. engineering phase work is anticipated to continue through fiscal 26 for that project. So this amendment is really to make sure that funding is available in those years, 24 and 25 primarily to continue that engineering work for this project. Manchester 42886, this is the roundabout at the entrance to Dairyfield School, which is River Road and Bicentennial Drive. The amendment is to move a portion of the engineering phase funding from 23 to 24 and move construction phase funding up to fiscal 25. And that is to accommodate the anticipated schedule for the project. Right now, construction phase is in a later year beyond 25. It looks like at this point, construction is anticipated to move forward in fiscal 25. So this advances that construction funding accordingly based on where the project's at in the development schedule. A new project here, a statewide project number 44196. This is the development of a statewide resilience improvement plan. So this is a new project for $165,000 for the development of that statewide resilience improvement plan. You're not familiar with, we had a question at our MPO meeting from Linda Kuhnhart of Francistown about what a resilience improvement plan is. It's essentially something that's established in the new what's called PROTECT program, a new program established in the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. The PROTECT program has is an acronym that stands for, let's see, promoting resilient operations for transportation something. It's essentially it's a resilience and climate change oriented resilience program. There is a component of formula funding at the federal level for this program that comes to each state, and there is a discretionary component of this program that states can compete for. This resilience improvement plan is one of the items that's encouraged by doing a resilience improvement plan. It identifies those infrastructure projects that could be funded by the PROTECT program. And if a project is included in a resilience improvement plan, it can actually reduce the non-federal cost share for that requirement by up to 10%. So there's a financial incentive built into the PROTECT program to encourage states to do resilience improvement plans. So our state has indicated that they're going to move forward with the development of a resilience improvement plan, and likely that financial incentive is probably one of the driving reasons why they wish to do that, achieving that lower non-federal cost share requirement. And then the fourth project in amendment number 1 is a scope change only. There's no funding change or year change or anything to this program. It's a statewide program. It's currently called the Resurfacing Tier 1 Highways Program. If you're familiar with the way that New Hampshire DOT characterizes highways, Tier 1 are basically your interstates and your major divided arterials, like your Route 101, for instance. Most significant roads in the state, mostly interstates. The proposed scope changes the word resurface to the word preservation. And there's a slight difference in the way that, let's see if I can move this out of the way. There's a slight difference in the way that the word preservation is defined as opposed to the word resurface. DOT defines the word preservation as work to deter or correct deterioration of a transportation asset intended to extend its useful life. This work does not entail any structural or operational improvements of an existing transportation asset. So they're not major capital improvements happening here. Preservation is the definition is a little bit broader than just resurfacing, but the moral of the story here is that the work doesn't entail any structural or operational improvements. There aren't capacity expansions happening in preservation projects. It will largely be resurfacing, but not solely resurfacing. And with that semantic change, that's it for amendment number 1. happy to answer any questions about the 4 projects included in amendment number 1. We haven't received any public comments on amendment number 1 to this point. If there was a quorum in the room, we would normally ask for a motion to recommend adoption to the MPO at their public hearing next week. Lacking a quorum in the room, we could still inform our MPO members that those members present at the TAC meeting unanimously recommended adoption of amendment number 1. So if there aren't any questions, that's fine. Otherwise, I will consider it to be the consensus of those members present in the room and online that we would recommend adoption to the MPO.
Okay. I see nodding of approvals in the, I see nodding of approvals in the room, and I see thumbs up out in the TV land audience, please. I see thumbs up, so thank you, everybody. Okay, so as Nate said, he'll pass our approvals to the MPO meeting on Tuesday. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nate. Okay, next is number 2, Pathways to Play project update, Cam Perlman, and Cam's gonna give an update.
All right.
And Suzanne too.
And Suzanne.
Okay,
Yeah, so this is a project that Suzanne, Zach, and Tammy and I have been working on. Some of you may be familiar with it. Where am I going? What do I do? Can everyone in Zoom land see this presentation that says Pathways to Play?
We can see it.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
So this pretty fun project we've been working on, funded through the New Hampshire Children's Health Foundation. And so this is just an informational update, but we're also going to we have a couple of asks out of our TAC members today.
Okay.
So sorry, what?
Yeah, move it like all the way to the top, I think. Yeah.
So the goals of this project, and they come from the New Hampshire Children's Health Foundation, is to prevent childhood obesity for children up to age 5. So that's our focus. And so what we're doing is we're assessing barriers to recreation throughout the whole region. We want to provide communities with tools to promote recreational facilities and assist one community with a pilot project. And I forget what the next slide is, but I want to just give a shout out to the Stratford Regional Planning Commission. They were the ones who started this work over in their region. And it was successful, looked really fun. Their communities had a lot of good things to say about it. So we wanted to replicate that. And so, I just want to give a shout out to Stratford for kind of laying the groundwork. Okay. So some of the key things we've been doing in this project, one of them initially was a community survey. I believe we've reported on that at a previous TAC meeting. We've been doing community outreach from the beginning. And then one of the major things we've kind of recently been working on is this GIS mapping. And I'll get into that. And then lastly, what we're going to talk about is a pilot project, and that's where TAC members are going to come in. And just a very brief highlight on the survey, we had about 250 respondents answer the survey. Around 80% came from parents or caretakers of young children. So it was successful in that it reached the audience that we were looking for. One of kind of the key themes that we saw were opportunities and kind of something we could work with. So folks are looking for more information or wayfinding for recreation sites. They were looking at safety concerns. They would like more facilities available, safer routes to walk, bike, or ride a scooter to different recreational facilities. And then kind of the big ones were knowing where things are located and how to get there. And then lastly, they just want to know what's out there. And so that is kind of the idea of this project that I'll get into with the mapping, is that we want to have a tool that's useful for people who can go and look up any recreation site for them or their kids and have as much information about that site, on like a little map that we'll talk about. So I'm going to briefly pass it to Suzanne to talk about some of the outreach we've been doing.
So when I kind of came on board with SNHPC last fall, I was really excited to see this great survey the team had done. And I thought one of the next steps was to start to get the word out more broadly. And so we actually created a pretty simple website for this project in Story Maps. This is just kind of the hero image up top, but it gives some background on the project. You can download a one-pager of all of the survey results. And also has other information, including a calendar of events and discussions about the pilot project. This was the kind of thing where it was a great way for us to provide like a unifying resource that people can access and also impress a funder, right? Because they like to see a lot of the information consolidated and easily accessible to the community. So this is a work in progress, but I think is definitely a great landing point for anybody who's interested in the Pathways to Play initiative. And we're promoting it over social media, in our newsletters, and in other ways where we can. Go ahead and skip ahead. In addition, we really wanted to build upon the results of the survey. I mean, the surveys are great, but they're kind of impersonal and a little disconnected. So we're looking for opportunities to do some in-person outreach events in communities. And so far, we've had one super amazingly successful event in Wyndham at an Easter egg hunt. That, basically part of the reason behind this was that it got transferred indoors due to rain. And then we had all of these parents and kids that just had time to kill while they were waiting for an Easter egg hunt. We had an amazing time. So we had a few different activities. We asked folks to map their favorite recreation sites in Wyndham. We also had a coloring area for kids just to kind of help keep them occupied and imagine their dream park. And then we also had a great visual voting exercise where people were being thoughtful about how do I get to the park in my community, or where do we go to play? And as you can see from the directions here, this was great because it was something parents and kids did together. They talked about well, how do we currently get to the park? And you can see the drive was overwhelmingly where the blocks were landing. But when people were asked, well, let's think about how you want to get to play spaces in your community, you could see that there was a lot more inclination for people to walk or bike or other. And kids had a wide range of things: scooters, helicopters, whatever. But I think it's a really great way to have a kind of clear-cut conversation of how folks are feeling about transportation options in light of children's recreation. We are just one thing note on this is we'll be continuing this through the spring and early summer. So if you know of an event, we've done some outreach. We're checking in with farmers markets. We think that's a great place to go. We have some outreach to libraries, maybe do a quick story hour and then talk about some of these Pathways to Play initiatives. It's just a great way to get in touch with community members and kind of get firsthand take on what people like about their parks, what's really motivating them. And one thing I liked about Wyndham, there was actually quite a number of people who are new to the community, and they're like, oh, I'm new, I don't know anything. But we had this beautiful map that people were creating, and we can say, well, you can see which parks people like the most and why. And that was a great way to kind of help new community members get oriented to recreation space.
Thank you.
Back to camp.
So the other, like I mentioned, the other part of this is we wanted to have a couple of deliverables. One of them is this regional GIS layer that maps every recreation site in the entire region. And that will transform into something I'll talk about in a second. But so Zach basically went through a ton of data, like open source data and, a bunch of other sources, and, mapped all these things. And so with that, we had to figure out, do some of these places exist? We can't, host this on a website if, we're going to put people on some private property or something like that. So we are building this GIS mapping tool where the hope is that folks with younger children or caretakers of younger children will have an online interactive map where they can click on a site and it's going to tell them what's the use of this? Is this appropriate for me to take my kid there? Is there parking? And so these are the things that we're looking at as far as attributes for each site. So we're looking at what's the primary use? What would you be going there for? Is there a playground? Is it an open park? Can you walk there on trails? Is there a ball field? Can you swim there? Things like that. So we're kind of combing through all this data and trying to understand like what is the main use. We're also looking at the hours, admission restrictions, can anybody go to this place? Is it for residents only? Is there a fee to use it? Are there restrooms and not porta potties, but places where, maybe a parent can change a diaper in the bathroom, something that's either seasonal for, like a pool or something that's open all year round. And then,
Kim,
yes.
I'm just wondering too, sorry to interrupt, but other attributes I thought also were identifying whether it's sidewalk accessible and also if there is any public transportation to.
Yeah, so that's something we're gonna be looking at, like the towns that we've met with so far. There hasn't been transit. I think that's gonna be more true in places like Manchester, some of Goffstown, and then I guess some of Derry too.
Some of Derry, yeah.
Yeah, that is a focus of this project so far in this mapping exercise. It hasn't been a focus on the communities, and you'll see which communities we've been working with. So this is just an example of the attributes. This is just New Boston, an example that we're going through each thing. There's a lot of places like conservation space and trails. And so we have some work to do still. We've met with Bedford, we met with Becky, who is on the call, Deerfield, Goffstown, New Boston. We met with George and Derry. And so we will be reaching out to other folks. Andrew will be trying to set up a meeting with you. And any other folks you think would be able to help out with a big list of potential recreation sites.
And so the map, the interactive map that really distills all the recreation opportunities in the region is a really important deliverable. And another important and hopefully really fun deliverable we're looking forward to is digging into a pilot project. So we're currently seeking nominations for this. You have a draft handout in front of you. I think, upon looking at it, we might split this to 2 pages just so it's easier to read and a little bit less dense. But I wanted to kind of share with you some of the materials we're starting to put together. This is an opportunity for given this funding from the New Hampshire Children's Health Foundation, we can put our skill sets to use as a team from a technical analysis standpoint, from a facilitation standpoint, and really help one site imagine how it can be transformed to better support access to children's play. So there's a kind of rough concept. It's going to happen in a pretty short and intensive period of time. We're going to be accepting nominations now through July, and that can be accessed through our website. In August, we're going to make a selection, and we have a Pathways to Play stakeholder group who will be part of that. With kind of ranking what the potential sites might be and picking one that seems like a really good candidate. And then in September and October, our team will do some intensive work with the community. We're going to, undertake the technical analysis, provide facilitation for a variety of engagement activities, whether that's a visioning session, some focus groups, a walking audit to help people really understand the on-the-ground experience of what it's like to get to a park with pushing a stroller, for example. So we'll actually work with the community to kind of craft what that might look like, and then hopefully develop by the end, by December, a concrete place-based action plan where here are some exciting opportunities that the community has weighed in on in terms of, whether it's some capital improvements, whether it's programming and activation, whether it's a park friends group wanting to take on more stewardship efforts, whether it's kind of potential funding sources that they might like to pursue, but really consolidate something that feels very actionable that folks are ready to run with. So one of the things we're kind of expressing is that for folks who are nominating a site in their community, some of the things that we're looking for is obviously like great local knowledge and understanding of context, the ability to support outreach efforts and, have connections with the community and bring the right people to the table who would like to weigh in on this. And then of course, enthusiasm, because we want somebody who is ready to take this action plan and run with it and advocate for it in their communities. So we're trying to get the word out about this. We're refining the content right now. We wanted to share it with you. And we will be kind of pushing this in full effect and getting the word out starting next week.
A question for you. What are the goals of the pilot project and what are the criteria for a good candidate?
So I would say that it's one of the things that we're framing this as. We originally had called this an application, but then we felt that that sounded too formal. So we turned it to a nomination form, but the questions are still the same and very easy. And the questions kind of indicate what will be good criteria for a site. One thing is that we have a really good understanding and that whoever is owning or operating that site, that they're aware of this nomination. I think that's something that we want to really make sure that the folks who are kind of working on that site or have influence on that site day to day are invested in this process. The other thing is whether there's a good level of community engagement happening and the ability to bring people to the table who are excited about making a change. I've had people ask, like, prime for transformation, does that mean it's like a problem site? And it could be a problem site where people are really excited to make a difference. It could also be a site where there's just like unrealized potential, where there is perhaps like a level of community enthusiasm and a friends group that'd like to get involved.
Yeah.
But in terms of outcomes, what we're really hoping to get is something is like a kind of methodology where people can quickly assess their park and really understand some steps of how they can make improvements and really impact children's play. And then also, obviously this will be most meaningful for the community where we're doing the exercise of this pilot project, but we're going to have some learnings and takeaways that will then be applied and disseminated much more broadly.
Yeah, and I think so we've met with a few rec directors in our region who, when we've brought this up, they've kind of perked up because maybe there's been this park that's been talked about in the past that nothing has really happened with, or an idea of a play space that they wanted to do, but there's been no, public support behind it because it's just kind of fallen to the wayside, right? There's no momentum. So this could be a good opportunity for us to help do some visioning or planning, whatever it may be, that otherwise probably wouldn't be happening. And so we can try to help beat the drum for a project. It could be a project that's already programmed in a CIP that needs some, assistance from getting the word out and support for it. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And so, we're asking you to help us get the word out when we start pushing this out. Talk to your rec directors, talk to other volunteers in your community, because with support, I think this could be a really fun project.
Kim, just a suggestion.
Yeah.
You might want to reach out to the school districts, 'cause like I know in Derry's case, our school district is separate from the town.
Yeah.
And I know the various, particularly elementary schools, have playgrounds and mini parks, and so they do their own thing. I mean, we talk, but just you might want to reach out to the superintendents.
The Manchester School District.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Just because they're two separate districts.
It's an easy connect for me.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Yeah, we definitely need to get.
Did all the routing for them 2 years ago.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's
Excellent. Yeah,
a really big, that's high up on your list too, of the connecting to schools.
I could also put something on the kiosk downtown in front of Veterans Park.
Yeah.
Put stuff up on there all the time.
Oh, that'd be
You
wonderful.
can advertise on that.
We'll refine these materials and get them over to you.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're excited about it. It's really fun.
Great, excellent job. Any questions for Cam or Suzanne from in the room or out in Zoom land? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Cam.
Thank you.
Suzanne. Okay, next on the agenda, mobility management update. Ben Hughes. Thank you. Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you. Allergies.
Yes,
Yeah.
you said
Still
allergies.
getting over it.
It's supposed to be over by Saturday.
It's gonna rain Saturday night.
Yeah.
Figures on the weekend.
This has been a rough week.
Sneezing isn't that terrible. The eye itch.
The eye, yeah.
The eye
yes.
itching and the headache.
Yeah,
This
my
has been a rough
spouse can't go outside.
Yeah, it's been bad.
Cannot go outside.
No,
No,
for some reason it's like worse this week. I don't know why.
Yeah, It puts me to sleep. So if my head hits the table, just say allergy.
Adam will throw something at you.
Thank you. Throw the water.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll work.
Okay, Ben, show's yours.
All right, how's this looking on Zoom land? Is it looking normal?
We're seeing the PowerPoint app, not the actual presentation.
Correct.
Maybe reload it?
How does it look on your laptop screen, Ben? Does it look full screen?
No, didn't.
Okay, so you have to, basically what you want to do here.
There we go.
Looks right now.
Oh.
It's good now?
I want to tell you guys about my transit to trails.
Oh, excellent.
That's second year running.
That's very relaxing, Nancy. Thank you.
Sylvia's really gonna fall asleep. You're really gonna time now, Sylvia.
So calming.
Sorry, Ben. Okay.
We're ready now, Ben.
Right. Morning, guys. It's great to finally speak to you all. I think the last time I gave an update was back in November, so it's been a little bit since I've spoken to TAC. So I'm excited to tell you guys about the work I've been doing since then. Just to kind of give you an update on what mobility management is, it can be described in three ways. It's a customer-based approach to transportation. I work directly with customers and clients who are, having issues finding transportation services. So they'll reach out to me and I can help them find services that meet their needs. It's also a facilitator for coordination. So I work directly with transportation providers within our regional coordinating council and outside of it. We're all working together and you can operate more efficiently and effectively. It's also a social worker for transportation because many of the people that I work with are disadvantaged. So senior citizens, disabled, veterans, low income, etc. And this is the region that I serve. It's a little different than the SNHPC region. It contains all of SNHPC's municipalities except for Francistown, which is a part of Region 5. And then we also have some of Rockingham Planning Commission's municipalities. And that would be Raymond, Sandown, Danville, Hampstead, Atkinson, Plastow, and Salem. Now I'll just kind of touch on what the demographics look like within our region. It's got a population of about 350,000 people. The median age is 43.4, with Atkinson having the highest at 51.9. For those who are 65 years or older, that's 15%. Atkinson is also at the top of that at 21.6%. Individuals with disabilities, that's 12% of the region's population. Manchester is the highest rate at 14.4%. Also, those in poverty, the region's at 7%, with Manchester at the highest at 13.1%. Those who are veterans, the region has 8% of those, with Chester being at the top with 11.1%. And then for foreign-born, minority, and limited English proficiency, Manchester is at the top of all those at 14.6%, 24.5%, and 9.3% respectively. And our region has a regional coordinating council. They meet bi-monthly, and the next meeting is June 20th at 11 a.m. right here. And these meetings are open to the public and everyone is welcome to join. But the purpose of the RCC is to create and implement a coordinated plan, update a directory of transportation services, more on that in a bit, and also solicit projects for FTA's 5310 program. Our RCC has 14 active members, including planning staff from SNHPC and Rockingham Planning Commission, transit providers from Easter Seals, MTA, CART, Rockingham Meals on Wheels, and Easter Seals, and then town representatives and citizens from Derry and Londonderry. And so one of the purposes of my job is to be making connections throughout the region, connections with those who represent populations that are transit dependent, disadvantaged populations, also meeting with transit providers, social service organizations, and health services. And so this just kind of visualizes where I've been throughout the region since taking on this role back in August. But there's always still more connections to be made. Welfare departments, hospitals, medical centers, the list goes on of who I can help and who I can work with. And just kind of shows what else is out there and who I can be talking to and what I can be doing in the future. So since starting, I've done a lot of outreach work, which I'll go over a bit here. In collaboration with staff here at SNHPC, staff at RPC, Southwest Regional Planning Commission, and National Regional Planning Commission, we wrote an article for community transportation in New Hampshire's Town and City magazine. We kind of highlight what the state of transportation looks like within the state, issues with it. We also talk about the new mobility management network and what can be done in the future to improve it. I went over this the last time I did exercise, which was my new regional mobility management newsletter. I believe it was the December issue that I spoke about, and that went out to 52 recipients. And the latest one was back in March, and that one went out to 64 recipients. And each newsletter is going to be going out to more and more people because everybody I send it to are those that I've made connections with since then. And the next newsletter is coming out next month. And you can find these all online, and you can also reach out to me if you want to get a copy of this directly as well. I also created a brochure that highlights 16 transportation services throughout the region. I've distributed 240 copies of these out to like libraries, welfare departments, and senior centers, which totals at about 17 locations. And these will keep getting distributed as I go out and make more connections. And another thing I did was I created this new service on our website called I Need a Ride, which allows people to go in and then basically I'll just show it right here. So all they have to do is find the button on the homepage that says I Need a Ride. They click it and it takes them straight to a Google form. And they just got to enter specific information, where they're from, where they're going to, any accommodations that they need. And then once they fill it out and send it, I'll get a notification that says you have a new entry in your Google form. And then when they provide their contact information, I can reach out to them directly and help them out and help them find services that meet their needs. And these can all be found online. All you have to do is go to the website and go to transportation, regional mobility coordination, and then mobility management, and it's all there. You're welcome to use it however you please. Another thing we track is performance indicators. Now I'll kind of go over a couple of them. So one of the things we track is new clients served, meaning new individuals that are being helped by transportation services. And the purpose of tracking this is that the state kind of wants to see how more people are utilizing transportation services now that this mobility management network has been implemented. So here we kind of see the total is about like a little over 300 new riders served between all these services. And this covers August 2022 to March 2023. Another thing I track is client referrals, meaning people who reach out to me and ask me directly, people who need help finding transportation. And so this just kind of highlights where people are from when they reach out to me and they ask me kind of like, I need to get to this place. I'm too old to drive. I'm disabled. They have a lot of issues that they deal with and they just can't drive themselves. And so they'll be going to places like hospitals in Boston, up in Lebanon. Sometimes you just got to get across town. I've had people reach out to me who need a vaccine for COVID, and I've gotten them in touch with volunteer driver programs who are able to get them across town and help them get their vaccine. And the last one I'll go over is outreach activities. Since starting in August, I've done over 40 different outreach activities. This includes 25 stakeholder meetings. So as I mentioned, with like transit providers, social service organizations, health organizations, 25 of those, 10 different press and media distributions. So like the brochure, the newsletter, the magazine article. I've done other stuff for the SNHPC newsletter. And also I did a report on a survey I did at the Londonderry Senior Expo back in October. And then 9 educational events as well, events where I kind of like go out and like inform people and help them learn about what services are available to them. So moving forward, there's more connections to be made, more librarians, welfare offices, other transportation providers that I haven't reached out to yet or haven't gotten back to me yet, planners and community leaders, and also medical centers. And also there's new outreach I can explore new outreach avenues as well, doing stuff for local town newsletters, assessing town websites on their availability of transportation resources, videos and website and social media content. So with that, that comes to our new 2023 Community Transportation Directory. This is something I've been working on for quite a while, and I figured now would be a good time to show you because this is going online today. And I did send out the last draft of this in the TAC packet, so I hope you all got a chance to look at it. This was long overdue because the last time we had a directory of transportation services was back in 2016/2017. Excuse me. And that was when our region was split into two separate regions. We have the greater Manchester region, and then the greater Derry and Salem area had its own region, and they each had their own directory. But a lot has changed since then. You know, COVID-19 changed a lot of the services. Many of the services that were listed in the last directories aren't around anymore. RCCs 8 and 9 merged into the RCC we have today. And there's a new coordinated plan that we implemented as well. And one of the recommendations for that was to develop and refine sustained outreach strategies across media channels to provide awareness of regional transportation options. So with that, the directory highlights, the benefits of community transportation, what it is. It highlights the mobility management network. It also goes over 26 transportation services throughout the region, including fixed route bus services, demand response services, volunteer driver programs, and youth transportation services. And so it shows you every single transportation service categorized in the four I just mentioned. And it tells you if it's wheelchair accessible, kind of gives a little description of it, if there's fares associated with it, the service area as well, who it's available to, and if there's an advance notice needed when you're requesting a ride. And it's the same for the demand response services, the volunteer driver programs, and the youth transportation services. Now, this is kind of what directories look like throughout the state for all the other regions. And they just kind of tend to be like 10-page long Excel spreadsheets. And as I was updating this, I was thinking, I thought about people who reach out to me, because when people reach out to me, they're frustrated and they're at their wits' end because they've been asking everybody and they just have no help whatsoever when they need a ride. So when someone sees a 10-page long Excel spreadsheet that's supposed to help them out, they're probably not going to want to look through that.
They don't read, they don't.
No, like they might get mad and just start eating their laptop. So in order for people to stop eating their laptops, I also did a whole new section that highlights all the services for each town. So maybe people just don't care about the introduction section that talks about community transportation, the network. People probably just won't care. They just want to see what's where I live. And so every single town has a layout like this that easy to read, easy to print out and keep to themselves. And it highlights the same information that you saw in the other part of the directory that highlights all the services. And so this is going to be getting sent out to all the connections I've made. It's going to be getting sent out to all the welfare departments. It's going to be going online, promoted on our social media. And you can also find it online. It's going to be under transportation and regional mobility coordination. And you can find it either under community transportation or the mobility management pages as well. That's all I have.
Excellent. Anything else? Any questions for Ben? In Zoom land as well as in the room? Seeing none, thank you, Ben. Excellent.
I am.
Why is that there?
Yeah, why is this here?
And there we go. Why am I struggling here? Sorry,
Mark, sorry.
yes,
Mark.
hello, yes. I wanted to say, I think this is great. I really like what you're doing here. Can I recommend when SNHPC puts out bulletins to the individual communities, that they take your first, say, 15 pages plus just that community's dedicated sheets as a submittal to them.
Yeah. Thank you. Anything else?
Great, thank you again.
Thank you, Ben.
Awesome.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is, we'll read this for the record. It's a statewide asset data exchange system. And I'm gonna turn it over to Adam, and Adam's gonna give us a information only update.
Seeing the mouse cursor on here.
It's like,
Here.
You have to share your screen.
The mouse is over here, but the
it's in like a
window's
two,
over here.
in a two
Yeah,
screen mode, so gotta like drag the mouse over on the.
If you go all the way to the right, there you go, and then it should come over.
Try left.
Oh, here we go.
Yay. I didn't touch it. I wasn't near it. It's not my fault. It's allergies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dan, you got a nice round of applause. Nobody gave me any applause.
Oh, man.
And also one. Sylvia woke you up, see?
Thank you.
Welcome, I missed Zach and Dave will be next.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody gets applause.
To be fair, Nate, your presentation only affected 3 communities. Ben's hit everybody.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, there was a statewide project, sure.
now you're up to full screen, so that's good.
Yeah, I've never seen this happen before like this. Sorry for the delay, everyone.
No problem.
Can the video, the home folks see the presentation, or is it different?
It's not the full screen that he wants. This is the presenter's view.
Right?
And how did you solve that?
So if you go to like the share screen thing and like it lets you like select a window.
Maybe stop share and then share again. What do you see now?
No, it's the same thing.
How about now? Do you see the whole thing?
Yes, yeah,
That
thank
gets
you.
it.
Okay,
All
good.
right. All right, sorry about that, everyone. So I'm going to give a quick overview of SAID's pedestrian assessments today. If this topic seems familiar, a version of this presentation was given by James Veo a couple years ago, but we thought it was time for a refresher.
There you are again, Ben. You're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Same shirt too.
Hate when that happens.
So what does SAID stand for? Statewide Asset Data Exchange System. And what does that mean in layman's terms? Standardized process for collecting and sharing transportation asset data across New Hampshire. So this program is managed by the UNH Technology Transfer Center, or T². So they manage the data as well as provide training for RTC staff and others who are collecting data. The data is collected on an iPad in the field. As you can see in the picture here, it's geolocated. So when folks are out collecting sidewalk data, for instance, it will automatically upload that to the cloud. And so that's how that's done. SAID's data, there are a few different types: culverts and stream crossings. SNHPC staff did a lot of that data collection a few years back. But starting last year, That was taken over by Department of Environmental Services, so we no longer send folks into the field for that. The RSMS stands for Road Surface Management Systems. And that is something we've done several times over the last few years, most recently in Deerfield in 2019 and 20. And that involves going out and doing a windshield survey of pavement conditions on all town maintained roads in a community. We then put that data into the RSMS software, and it produces scenarios that we can then share with the town road agent or DPW, and produces various scenarios to fix the roads. This is one of the charts from RSMS that's kind of an eye opener for people. A lot of towns invest in their roads only when they get to be in poor condition. And as you can see, $1 of preventative maintenance when a road is still in good shape eliminates $8 to $10 of rehabilitation later on. This is another chart we made for Deerfield. PCI stands for Pavement Condition Index, and the red line you see is the natural deterioration of the road surfaces over 10 years. And the green line is if you use the pavement maintenance suggestions from RSMS, the roads can stay in a lot better condition and town resources can be used more effectively. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today is the SAID's pedestrian attributes data collection. And we did some of that in Bedford and Goffstown last year. It was town request, Bedford requested we did an area off of Technology Drive, I believe. And then we started an assessment in Goffstown, the Pinardville neighborhood. We didn't quite finish it due to weather and losing a staff member at that time. So we're going to resume that shortly in the next month or so. So why plan for pedestrians? Well, as you all know, everyone's a pedestrian at one point or another. Pedestrian safety has been a big issue lately. If you've heard the news, tragically, several pedestrians have been struck in Manchester over the last 6 months to a year. So that's something, it's both behavioral, but also we can look at the infrastructure to see if there are improvements that can be made. Reducing reliance on single occupancy vehicles is always a good thing. This is Commute Smart month, so that's something to be talked about. Better transit access, higher real estate values. I just was looking at a couple of studies done by the National Association of Realtors. Rental prices were $300 more per month in walkable neighborhoods. And home values were $82 more per square foot. Also, walk score, if everyone's familiar with that, is a way to rate how walkable an area is. Areas are scored on a scale of 100, and a single additional point in a walk score was found to increase home value by $3,500 for just one point in the walk score. So the environmental, health, and equity benefits are also there. Taking cars off the road, getting exercise, and ensuring folks have equal access to pedestrian amenities. So the 3 types of pedestrian infrastructure we collect data for are sidewalks, curb ramps, and crosswalks. I'm not going to go through every one of these bullets right now, but basically surface material and condition are 2 of the most important things for any of these attributes. Some of the signage items, alignment of crosswalks, obstructions, measurement of the width. An example is if you've been out on Dubuque Street here, you've seen how the sidewalk goes from dirt to paved to concrete and broken up stones. So that's the type of thing we would note and create a different attributes for each section of the sidewalk. So the city could choose to address it how they like. So what does the actual data look like? This is a screenshot of Pinardville. This is I was going to click on this and show the actual data. I'm not confident with that, with how the screens are messed up right now. I could try it, but no promises. Let me stop sharing. I have it up on a browser window too. Can everybody see that?
Oh, you have to move that over. What can the people at home see right now?
It just says the glimpse at the date. It looks like the same map that you had up before.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna even attempt to waste any more of your time with this nonsense, but basically, I was gonna click on some of these attributes and show you the type of information that we put in. Basically, the red lines are your sidewalks. You can see the different segments are different lengths depending on where they are in a block.
Excuse me, Adam, we're just seeing you talk. We're not seeing your screen.
Okay,
It didn't keep up with you.
all right, hold on a second.
Try again with. What do you see now?
The screen, a glimpse at the data.
All right, that's where we need to be, but now I'm not seeing it on this screen. Anyway, so yeah, the dotted blue lines are crosswalks, and like I said, I was going to try to show you some of the attributes that we collect, but some of the things I just talked about, the width, the type of crosswalk, the condition, whether the paint is faded, that sort of thing. And then the curb ramps are these pink circles. You can see they're not at every intersection, but we assess those slope, condition. Sometimes there's an obstruction. There's a car that can park too close to the curb ramp sometimes, that sort of thing. But yeah, this is Pinardville. We have a little bit more to do this early summer. I can't advance the slide. All right.
What do people at home see now?
We're seeing Adam and in the room.
I think you have to stop sharing again. Oh, I think you did stop sharing. Is it showing that?
Yeah, I'm seeing a different image on my screen than the big screen, and I don't know which one's being shared.
Right now,
We see Sade's project path.
Okay, that's what I want, but anyway. So yeah. So how does the process work? Well, first, a member community comes to us and asks for a study to be done, which is what Bedford and Goffstown did last year. We develop a scope, figure out exactly what the town wants. Sometimes they would want a whole neighborhood, other times it's just simply one or two streets. Figure out. Yeah, we collect the data according to the SAIDS protocol. We format it in GIS and maintain a close relationship with the town staff the whole time to make sure we're getting what they want. And then we review the results and determine if any next steps are needed, any follow-up information. And we'll type up a report.
Put your mouse back over to the other screen and see if that helps. Now, what do you see now? Home viewers.
It saves pedestrians in 2023.
Yeah, you just have to keep your mouse there.
All right.
On that one.
Yeah, this is the last slide anyway, thankfully. So yeah, what are we looking to do this year? On June 7th, we have training, which is done by the UNHT Square Center. A couple of our staff will be going to that. On how to collect the data, how to identify sidewalk, curb ramp and crosswalk attributes. We're gonna finish the Pinardville assessment, as I mentioned, that we started last fall. Hooksett is also next in the queue, so we'll reach back out to them and make sure we are collecting the data they're looking for. And then we are open to collecting data in other communities as well. We have some UPWP funding for this. So we're happy to help communities as needed. This is just a cover shot of the Bedford report that was put together last year. So sorry again for all of that. It was, not the smoothest, but here we are. So any questions from the group?
Any questions?
Thank you,
for
Adam.
Adam in Zoom land?
That Elm Street?
That's a great shot, picture.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you take that, Adam?
I did.
Oh, that's Chastain straight ahead? No.
I was sitting at Ben and Jerry's in a site.
I was gonna say, it's
That-
right on.
Thanks.
It's right on that area.
Good
Yeah.
shot.
Sidewalk and a crosswalk in it, so I figured
Yeah.
it was good for this purpose.
Please stop sharing.
Good.
I think, yeah, with your mouse up there, I think hit right click and then end this show.
I'm sure.
There we go.
All right.
Ah, we got a thumbs up from Paul. Thanks, Paul.
I think we should give Adam a round of applause.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay,
Clear, George, so everyone knows from our communities that that's no cost to the communities, that program. And what else did I remember? Cost of the communities, and that data is all available right online. And so at any time, and I don't know if Becky's still with us. No, she had to leave. But yeah, like for example, the work we did in Bedford and in Goffstown, it's stored on the web, so it's all there. It's nothing we have to send communities. It's all uploaded there.
okay. Great. Okay, one other item, any other business? Or any new business? Anybody in Zoom land anything they want to bring up?
Jessica.
Jessica?
Yeah, thank you so much. I just was hoping I could get a couple of minutes to just highlight this event that we are planning here at DES at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's called Green Your Fleet. And we are bringing in a keynote speaker from the US Department of Energy to talk about transportation decarbonization. We've got all of the national EV infrastructure state leads from Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine coming in to talk about that funding and how that's going to support build out of fast charging infrastructure for electric vehicles on our corridors. And we have lunch, coffee all day. We're going to have a beautiful vehicle showcase with all these alternative fuel vehicles, from biodiesel, propane, natural gas, and electric, from light duty up to heavy duty. We've got street sweepers and transit buses and school buses and refuse trucks and dump trucks and pickup trucks and all sorts of things coming in. So we'd love to have you invite your communities. We'd love to invite the TAC. We've been pushing out a free comp ticket for folks because we just want to get bodies there now. We have this great event we've put together and we just want to get people there. So if you're interested, go to our website, Granite State Clean Cities. Granite State Clean Cities.nh.gov, and it's the first link under news and events, and that'll take you to a page where you can see all of the links for the agenda, for the vehicle and vendor list, for our flyer, which has some great pics from when we were there in 2018. And all you need to do if you'd like to take advantage of that complimentary offer is when you click on the registration link, just type in other for the organization type. Type in this code on the other line, RPC, so Regional Planning Commissions. And then for the registration type, just check $0 sponsor. I know you're all not sponsors, but it helps you bypass the cost. And for the form of payment, not applicable, I'm a sponsor. So just, zero all that information out, put in the RPC code, and please feel free to circulate this information to town managers, school districts, DPW directors, whoever you think in your communities should be there to take advantage of this. Come and go, you know, if they want to come all day, great. If you want to just pop in, that's fine too. And I'm happy to send out the information directly to you if you want all that guidance in an email. Just shoot me an email, jessica.wilcox@des.nh.gov. Thank you so much for giving me some time.
Jessica, I'm wondering if you send us, the Linda and Adam and et cetera, if you send us that information, we can disseminate that to our TAC folks.
Perfect. Yeah, we'd love to see y'all there. I'll get you some great links so you can see some visuals too.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you.
And what was the date of that event?
Oh, right. Important details, right? Friday, June 9th at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon.
Thank you.
And that's all day.
Yeah, we're going to be there all day from 8 to 8:30 is registration, and then we'll probably end. We're going to end, and I forgot this is the highlight, right? We have this electric vehicle and alt fuel vehicle ride and drive on the track. So we're going to be allowing people, there's going to be a pace car, but they're going to allow folks to drive around the racetrack in some of these vehicles that we have on display. So really a fun day and a chance to kick the tires and sit in the seat.
I can see Tracy on some big rigs there.
We'll even like pile some folks on the buses and do the magic mile. So it'll be a fun day.
Tired of driving. I'll take it, I'll just watch.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you. Anyone else have anything to bring up? All right, well, we don't need any motions to adjourn because it's don't have a forum. So thank you, everybody, for attending, and we'll see you in June, right? June. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time.
Thanks,
everyone. Thank you all.
Have a good day.
It's the same week.
June.